I am Church, and I got something in my teeth, so I'm starting this over. What the fuck is that shit? Jesus Christ. What is that? How did I not see that?
You're listening to the Game Tenants Podcast.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Game Tenants Podcast, the failed adventures of two gamers and their quest for Gamecast stardom. This is episode 47, and I am one of your hosts, Church, of the Game Grinder, and as always, joined by my excellent co-host,
Jason from Corpsewood Gaming. How's she going, everybody?
Yes, we are back after a minor delay, so... No.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, it is what it is.
Big Wolf want to fight about it?
Take it outside. But yeah, so we got some things to talk about. Not a lot of really standout news in the last couple weeks, so some of this news might be a little outdated, but
a lot of it's just mentioning.
Yeah. But one other little change.
Fill in the gaps.
Yeah. One other little change is we're gonna move try moving the community comments towards the end of the podcast, so we can, as Philip DeFranco says, let's just jump right into this. So,
do it.
What have you been up to this last month? A little gaming, I hope.
Nothing
Nothing at all.
The last 2 days I've played some Nier Automata, but besides that, nothing. What about you?
I've been busy, I will say. A little gaming, little I don't know, a lot of stuff. I've done some changes to my game room. I eventually will do a game room tour, but I added recessed lighting. I got some new seating. Got not a new TV for my game room, but I've upgraded my game room TV. Lots of little upgrades, quality of life improvements. Put out a few videos since the last podcast. I put out a Sega Master System collection video that was a video request by Nintendo. He tagged me to talk about my Sega Master System collection. So there is that. And then I put out a Mirror's Edge unboxing video for Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Much like I said in that, who really cares? It's a 2-year-old game that nobody cares about, but it's going to do it anyways.
We had to take it out of the box anyway, so I might as well video it.
Exactly. And then most recently, I had a recent pickups video, number 22. Pretty much getting caught up with the swoops.
Good times. Yeah, I really liked the Master System one. Was my favorite of those three for sure.
Yeah,
especially since I'm kind of like half-assedly going for a full set there, about halfway.
Yeah, but, you luck into like a couple really good scores, and you got half the releases. You might as well finish it out.
Yeah, I mean, if I find that boxing game for cheap as fuck, then I don't take it super seriously, but there's only a couple heavy hitters I really need that are more than like $30, and a lot less than that. So
yeah,
it's good. We got a lot of the good ones.
Yeah, I think the problem with the collecting for the Master System is just access. I mean, you could buy everything on eBay and stuff, but
that's what I don't want.
Savings.
Yeah, I mean,
it takes the fun out of collecting.
Yeah, I mean, there's no hunt. It's just okay. Look on conditioning on Amazon. Okay, that's acceptable. I'll take that.
Right.
Although Amazon did hook me the hell up with Golden Axe Warrior. I got it like less than half price that it usually goes for, and it's legit and it's in awesome shape. So
super jelly.
But it's not the very worst option, that's for sure. But I definitely loved just stumbling upon it locally, but that's rarely gonna happen. I got,
Yeah,
like you said,
especially
very
these
lucky with
days.
that shit. Yeah, definitely. So that's why I'm saving all my money for the Midwest Game Classic, and hopefully I can leave
Buy
with
a few games.
duffel bag full of Sega Master System games as well as others.
The way it sounds like you're gearing up, you might need a couple duffel bags.
Good.
And there's plenty of games to buy.
Oh, I don't want to make everyone mad and buy them all, so hopefully other people get some.
You save a few for us at least.
Dude, the fuck. The guy just came and he just started like just with a hefty bag. He started just clothes on and goes, just tell me how much.
Yeah. One thing that I so super off topic of whatever the hell we're talking about, but you got your game store owners, you got, local resellers and stuff, but these vendors who go to gaming conventions and sell games for an entire weekend, I wonder how annoying or frustrating it is when you got a game here for sale. Every single person that's going to potentially buy that game is going to try to get it cheaper. Like, how annoying do they get? Do they expect that to happen? Are they prepped for it? Do they price their games at retail and then expect people are going to try to like lowball me, so I'll meet them in the middle, and hey, now the game sells for $5-10 less than retail or something.
Yeah, I'll price it at 80, but I'll actually sell it for 65. Just someone has to ask, like I'm comfortable letting it go. I wouldn't ever post it at like, if I was doing that, I definitely would be like, yeah, everyone's gonna be lowballing because they're all game collectors. No one wants to be like, if they wanted it for $80 that it's going for, they get it for the $80 it's going for. That's like when you buy something locally or at a garage sale and guys like $90. You're like, yeah, it's a garage sale, dude. Oh yeah, that's what it's going for on eBay, but we'll put it on eBay. That's what everyone always said. Put it on
eBay.
There's eBay. You're paying your
guys
piece, and you're actually doing work then. Not just going. There we go.
Yeah, there's actually a few guys in the Minnesota group that sell at conventions, so I should actually ask them like their thoughts on that whole deal. There's hopefully, you'll meet them when we go.
No, I'll be a snot.
You'll be what?
Be a snot.
Yeah. It's
like, I'd like to meet them. So like, you'd like me to meet them, not I.
You're gonna completely defy the Canadian stereotype and just be like belligerent and pushy and rude.
Yeah. To go to shake my hand, I'll like cough into my hand before I go to shake it. Oh, sorry. Not sorry, actually. That was purposeful.
But I guess kind of reeling this back in. So besides the video stuff, I've actually managed to squeeze in some more games. I got a pretty good pace going so far this year. I think I'm up to like, I'm not trying to like make you feel bad or anything, but I think I'm up to like eight games finished so far. First one is Iconoclasts. Have you looked at that one?
Yeah, I looked a bit when you were talking about it last time, actually. It looks pretty cool.
So, for anybody who might not be familiar with Iconoclasts, it is a kind of like pixel art focused Metroidvania, side scroller platformer adventure game, made by one guy, which is crazy. It's always mind blowing when these games, it's like, yeah, this is made by one person, or this is made by two guys or something. It's like, holy crap.
Well, there's gonna be a flood of that when NES Maker comes out, so it's gonna demystify the whole thing. You'll be like, oh yeah, just one guy.
It'll be interesting to see what people do with that when they have ease of access is huge when it comes to game development, and the creator of Iconoclasts would probably have a lot to say about it, because the game kind of evolved over time. Originally, when he started working on it many years ago, I think he's been working on it for like 8 years or so, maybe longer. Yeah. It was originally called Ivory Tower, and it's kind of interesting going back and watching some of the like old footage from like the development of that, and the changes, not only just like graphically and like some of the gameplay, but how he's like, oh, okay, I really like this idea, and he's carrying it into the new one, like with characters and events. And yeah, so I would definitely recommend checking it out. It's probably one of the better Metroidvanias I played. I know I haven't played like Axiom Verge and damn it, there's one other game I was thinking of, but just on the like the pixel art alone, like this game is very impressive. The amount of just like story based like character animations, like reactions to dialogues that he throws in there is a lot more than they do in a lot of games like this. Just little simple things, and that's always what really impresses me, especially when you have like the pixel art focused games.
The minor details are always like just, I don't know, just add so much to a game when you just picture them up, especially if you're not rushing through a game and you can take some time to appreciate the small things like that.
Right.
That's why you see like what a labor of love like some games are, and then when you just see bare bones crap in other games, you're like, yeah, they didn't care, they were just throwing this together.
Yeah, right.
They use the same model for this desk in this room and in every other room. They're just lazy. They just kind of threw a bunch of stuff around. And then, I don't know, yeah, like when you just see little fine things that a lot of people would actually just miss, that's what can really draw you into a game.
Right,
like,
right.
And
it's a pretty ambitious game, just like the art style alone, but the story that he tries to craft, or that he crafted, is pretty interesting. It doesn't have like the greatest writing in the world, not to say that it was like poorly written, but there are some scenes like with character interactions that's kind of like it's a little corny or cheesy, but you know, kind of in the realm of video games, it's hard not to do that.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, there's like certain tropes that kind of you gotta keep the game going. But as long as it wasn't like Tommy Wiseau movie
right.
character interactions, you're like, all right, well, it's fine then.
Yeah, and the gameplay itself is just absolutely solid. Really, really fun, interesting abilities. It's kind of like the main character is a mechanic, so kind of use your imagination. There's like
a lot of mechanic based abilities.
Yeah,
kind of like that Locke's Quest. Locke's Quest is like about like this guy who's got his main weapon is like a giant wrench and stuff.
Yeah, essentially. So, yeah, and surprisingly, I haven't seen a lot of talking about this game. I would have thought that this game would be one of those, you know, indie games that kind of gets a little bit more attention, but you know, for a lot of reviewers and YouTubers that I follow, like I've seen next to no mentions of this game, and it's very disappointing because it is a fantastic game, and again, like put out by one person, and you can just you see, you feel, you experience the passion that was put into this game. So check it out. Iconoclasts. And then February is kind of like for me anyways, it's the month of remakes, I guess. Of course, Shadow of the Colossus. I'm sure a lot of people already know about that. Have you played Shadow of the Colossus before?
Me?
Yes.
What kind of question is that, man? Yes, I have.
Yes.
Yes, I've never beat it though, so I'm really looking forward. I picked it up and pre-ordered it. I actually forgot I pre-ordered it, and it came in. And I was just like, "Oh yeah, nice." I wasn't sure if my wife actually might have bought it for me because I had it in the cart. I was just kind of, I don't know. I got a lot of games on pre-order right now. I probably will, but we'll see. And then it just was in the mailbox, and I went and checked my PO box, and I was like, decent. Right on.
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm looking forward to jumping in that. I'll try and finish it on the PS4. I don't even know how far I got in the original one, the PS2. My brother and I kind of played it together. Mm-hmm. So he's actually the one that bought it. When he must have been like 8 at the time, and he was just like, check this game out, and I was like, right on. was already, I don't know. I think it was when I still lived at home, so it was like probably just before I moved out. So he played it on my PS2 a lot, so we'd kind of go back and forth, and I'd help him with some stuff he gets stuck on, and then I'd play a bit on my own too. And just so I was really stoked when I got it. I was like, oh man, you'll have to come over and play it. I know it won't happen because he's just as busy as me. He doesn't have as many kids, but he's just as busy as me anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it would be cool to play with him again. That'd be a cool throwback. But yeah, it was definitely a game I don't know why I didn't finish playing.
Yeah, same.
I think
pretty much the same situation with me as I'd gotten it years ago, not at the time of release. Actually, time of release, one of my friends got it, and I watched him play a lot of it, just hanging out. And then eventually, when I picked it up, I started playing it, got sidetracked, and never finished it. Not saying that it was a boring game, just it was one of those instances where for some reason I just never finished it, even though I was really enjoying it.
Yeah, it's not even that long of a game. Even like if you really buckle down and you can beat it in like 8 or 10 hours or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm thinking he probably beat it while I was working, because it was around the time where I wasn't like hardcore gaming and stuff. Like I kind of actually quit around middle of PS2 being out. I just kind of stopped playing games. I was busy doing other stuff, and I was in my late teens, early 20s, so I just kind of partying with friends and jamming, playing I was actually playing a lot of guitar and stuff, so that's probably why I wasn't playing as much games. But yeah, I still played it a bit, and yeah, having a little brother kind of actually kept me with it. So that's probably what happened. He probably beat it while I was busy doing something else, and then he wasn't playing it anymore, so I didn't play it anymore, I guess.
Sure.
Which is a shame.
Yeah, so it was originally released in like I can't remember.
2003,
2004, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And then last gen, PlayStation 3 got a remastered version, which was
two-pack.
Two-pack with Ico and Shadow of the Colossus. Just, upscaled to HD, no real changes or anything. I think they added trophy support, which is, you can pretty much expect any game to end up on current gen consoles to have trophy support of some.
Yeah, well, there's even a lot of the early PS3 games didn't have any, and then they added it to a few of them. But I remember thinking that was weird. Going, I've been playing a lot of this, and I haven't got a trophy yet. And then I look, and I'm like, oh, is there just not any for this game? Okay, it's kind of weird. But.
And I guess for anybody who really might not know what Shadow of the Colossus is, you maybe seen pictures. It's you see these big guys and you fight them. I think that's what a lot of people who haven't played the games probably think they are. And I think one of the things that made Shadow of the Colossus such a big deal when it was released was how far it strayed away from the standard like gaming formula to kind of do its own thing. Very, very bare bones game. You're a dude, your potential love interest, or we don't really know.
That's actually their names, dude and potential love interest.
Yeah.
That's how bare bones it is.
Wanderer and Mono are the characters' names. But anyways, you're essentially this girl dies, you want to resurrect her, you go to some mystic land to try to do this, and some omnipotent voice tells you in order to potentially do this, you have to defeat all these colossi. And don't let the name fool you, because they definitely are Colossus. Like, these things are absolutely massive, and
it was just towering, huge.
And I mean, there were games before then that tried to do big when it came to enemies or bosses, but Shadow of the Colossus like really embraced like truly massive creatures. And essentially what you do is you go and you defeat these colossi, but each colossi is essentially a puzzle at the same time.
Because you have to figure out how to climb them, or...
Yep, you have to get on them, stop them, get on them somehow, and you'll find like these weak spots, and then you attack the weak spots to defeat them. and it's never entirely clear on how to do so. There's a couple things you can do to try to give you some hints. You got a sword that will point you in the direction of Colossi, and it will show their weak spots.
It doesn't do the old flashing orange thing like, oh, maybe I have to hit that.
Yeah. One thing that I do like, though, is if you're taking maybe longer than the game expects you to take to figure something out, a voice will kind of chime in and kind of give you a little hint. It doesn't say specifically.
Dude, stab him in the neck.
Oh, okay. or it won't be like...
Your game just gets tired. It's like when you're watching a kid play a game, you're just like, just jump on that thing's back.
Yeah. And so we've seen this before. There's been other recent full-on remakes of games, but for me, this is how you do a remake of a game. You
This is how
re-up the graphics. I mean, like it was they completely like redid the art style, but it looks like the game originally did, but way more to it. Way more details, vegetation, skyboxes.
It's basically as breathtaking looking at it now as far as like current standards as it was looking at it in the PS2 days compared to the other PS2 games.
Yes.
Is what I find from what I've looked like what I've seen of it. I actually did watch trailers of this one, even though I was like, I'm getting it. It's not really spoiling anything. It's an older game. It's not like they changed the story of it or anything. But it's like, yeah, I was actually falling like, is it really worth getting? Is it like that much different about it? But the amount of care they put in there, like I said, the little things.
Yeah, and they didn't really change much of anything, and that's what I think is great. They gave you some options with controls, like the default control style has a few improvements compared to the original control scheme, but other than that, like the areas, the colossi, the story, everything is exactly the same, and I think that is perfect. I think
there's a couple of Easter eggs or something added in this one, though, isn't there?
Yep, a couple Easter eggs. I didn't find them myself, but I've seen screenshots of my friends had found them. There was like a Last Guardian reference, which is pretty cool. Because I think I probably shouldn't even say, but I'm pretty sure at some point I read that definitely Ico and Shadow of the Colossus are connected, like no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe the Last Guardian is also like they all take place in like, the same universe.
Cool.
So
pretty good, then.
Yeah, and pretty much if you played Shadow of the Colossus before, this is exactly Shadow of the Colossus. It just looks amazing. Fantastic game. Deserves all the praise it gets.
And if you didn't play it, you missed it. It's a perfect chance to check it out. It's cheap,
absolutely.
Too.
It's very affordable. It's a shorter game, like 10 hours if you just do one playthrough. I can't remember in the original. I think the original also had like a mirror mode, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
But this has a mirror mode. There is one other like kind of like new game plus thing. There's like the time attack modes that you like beat the game, speed run style.
Don't they have inverted mode? It'd be way cooler.
Inverted.
Completely.
Controls.
Just the entire screen's upside down. You have to play it upside down.
It's a little confusing.
Yeah, it's confusing enough in like a platformer when they do that.
Yeah. And now that I never finished Ico either. Like I played when I first got my PlayStation 2, I bought it from a friend, and with it I got Smuggler's Run and Ico. And
Sweet.
Played Ico quite a bit, never finished it for some reason.
I thought Ico was another shorter one. Isn't Ico like a 6-hour game?
Yeah, there's no reason why I haven't finished these games. But from what I played of that, and now that I've finished Shadow of the Colossus, I really strongly suggest that anybody who enjoys either of those games should really play The Last Guardian, because that game is so damn good, and
Is it the
was
longest
largely
one?
ignored.
Yeah,
It's not a super long game either. It was like I want to say it was like I don't even remember, like 15 hours maybe, if that. But I mean, it got some mentions. Some sources gave it like Game of the Year and whatnot, but largely a lot of people ignored it. They watched some reviews where
there's a controller hiccup.
Never or hadn't played any Team Ico games in a long time are like, oh, camera is a little bit rough. Bad game. What? No. They watched a Donkey video, which is like half trolling, and they're like, oh, I'm not going to play that game. You're fucking crazy. It is.
I honestly don't go by reviews on just about anything. Like, my mind's usually made up if I'm watching a review video. I just kind of go.
Yeah. And I would say, like, pretty much everybody I know, people that I associate online, real life friends, nobody really does. But there's, because we're all like special instances where a little bit more.
I make up my own mind what I'm gonna play.
But like the general audiences are the ones who can really make or break whether a game series continues. Because all only thing that ultimately matters is sales. Unfortunately,
Boo.
Yeah, it really sucks, and that's why we get yearly Call of Duties and all the sports franchises, and
we get like some of the greatest games come out, and they never get you're surprised if they even get a sequel. You're like, wow.
Well,
everyone I know likes it, but just because everybody didn't buy a copy, I don't care. You don't have a PS4, buy this game.
What's gonna happen? Whatever social media and like YouTube becomes in the future, where you just like broadcast thoughts to each other or something, people are going to be like, here, check out my thought on the top 10 hidden gems from the 2000s or something. I don't know. And I think Last Guardian is going to be one of those games that people are going to be like, the game didn't get the attention. They never made any other Team Ico games because nobody would fund them because they weren't huge selling blockbusters. And, now we just get the standard recycled games that don't do anything interesting.
Oh, come on. Everyone's excited for Modern Warfare 27.
Yeah, it's coming. But
what they'll be talking about with their brain scan or whatever.
Right. So then, like I said, kind of the month of remakes, continuing there with the Secret of Mana remake, which...
Why is it a secret of mana? Why isn't it a secret of people?
I wrote a
if you're gonna update your freaking.
It's actually mana. I've seen people specifically like making posts like, you guys are all pronouncing it wrong. But you know what? If you play the game, they say mana in the game.
I said mana.
Mana. Secret
of Mana. Secret of Mana. It's the
best. But if you listen to previous episodes, of course, both of us super excited for it. I mean, I haven't finished it yet. I'm pretty far. I'm getting about to the point where the Mana Fortress shows up, and again, like this is how you do a remake. Of course, this is a remake of a much older game, so a big change with the graphical style compared to Shadow of the Colossus, which, some people would argue that it's not a huge upgrade compared, but going from 16-bit art style to...
Yeah, it's not like a resolution upgrade. It's literally a total graphical upgrade and overhaul and basically built from the ground up.
Yeah, and everything pretty much exactly the same. Areas look the same. Enemies look the same. Characters, I think they did I love for this game, looking at the original art style and the art style that they chose to do the remake in, like, I can't see how they could have done it better. I know a lot of people don't. I've seen a lot of people say, well, I don't love the new art style.
I don't love you.
But if you look at the original and say, hey, what would that look like in 3D polygons?
Exactly.
This is what it would look like.
Yeah.
Gameplay is, it's the same game. It has a remixed soundtrack, so same original songs, just like newer versions where they like changed instruments, more orchestral, or they got some
not just
rock
chip
songs.
tunes.
Yeah,
you can actually do that now.
I mean, I absolutely love the original Secret of Mana soundtrack. That is when I really got access to a computer and to the internet and learned about file sharing, peer-to-peer file sharing. Like, besides some metal, like one of the first things that I went online to find was soundtracks for like Final Fantasy VI, Chrono Trigger, Secret of Mana, Secret of Evermore, Final Fantasy Tactics, Xenogears. I've had these soundtracks on my computer for like 20 years at this point. So I love the soundtrack, and I will say the new one is fantastic. There are some songs that I would say I probably prefer over the originals, and there's some songs that they just don't compare to the originals. But
a lot of people are like, "Oh, definitely do yourself a favor. It's cool for a little bit, but then switch to the old style." At least you have the option to switch to the
and that's pretty neat. I kind of wish that maybe they kept that as an option for the graphics too, just because I think that's neat that they do that. Wonder
Halo.
Boy, Dragon's Trap, Halo, Secret of Monkey Island.
I thought that was cool. Like, I remember playing the Halo Combat Evolved upscale or whatever, and being like, "This doesn't even look that different." And then you could push the button and it would snap instantly in and out. I was like, "Oh, dude, okay." And it's just basically like we were just saying with Shadow of the Colossus. We're like, yeah, it looks compared to what's out now just as good as compared to what was out then. You're like, oh man, yeah, actually there's a lot changed. I just didn't realize it because I'm used to this new look of stuff.
Right. And like I said, the everything really just looks the same, but there's so much more detail too. Like, just in general, like moving forward, I haven't really thought about this too much, just since I'm playing the remake. But like moving forward, the next time I decide that I'm going to revisit Secret of Mana, like, which version am I going to play next time I decide to sit down and play the game? Like, it's kind of a tough call.
Because there's some things that have been updated, like you're able to move in all directions now, which is a big tactical thing from what I've heard. It's like actually one of the better.
It's a nice improvement, but I wouldn't say it's huge. Gameplay wise, a shortcoming is in Secret of Mana you have 3 different characters. You can control all 3 characters, but while you're controlling one character, you can select and use abilities for the other characters. And before, they used to use a ring system. A ring would pop up that would have your spells or your gear, and before it would pop up over the character that the ring was for. Now it pops up in the middle.
Yeah,
and it can be tricky. Like the main character, if you use the square button, they'll pop up the menu for him, and then you hit triangle and it'll pop up the menu for the other characters. But like, say you're playing the main hero and you want to cast a spell, and typically Popoi or Sprite is the first menu that comes up. But if he's like about to do attack, or if he's in the middle of attack, then instead it will be Prim or the princess's menu will come up. So, and there's no distinction on whose menu is up unless you're looking at like the magic wheel for the 2 characters, or so that gets a little annoying. I'm still
hopefully they can update that.
Yeah, and actually I I haven't read anything, but I saw one of my friends mention there was an update because he had mentioned that he had some issues with some of the there's a few
crashing.
Yeah, there's some crashing. I haven't had any like glitches necessarily during gameplay, but I have had 3 crashes. One was I was fighting a boss and nothing happened. Like I was fighting the boss and there's a he's supposed to do this different thing. It's the three-eyed wall is the boss that you fight, and it's supposed to like start pushing you down, and it never did that. And so I sat there and I was like, okay, well maybe I just need to keep attacking him. So I fought for like 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is just broke. So I just exited the game. One really nice addition is there is kind of an autosave that happens at the dungeons. I'm not sure if it happens at like certain points throughout the dungeons. Usually it's been not a far distance for me to recoup that loss. But then I had to like straight up crash to main or back to like the PlayStation menu. And 2 of those happened, or those 2 instances both happened within like an hour. So it's not been widespread. They happen. For me, I'm not gonna cause a huge stink.
Well, it did just come out. I mean,
well,
if there's time to update it, if they don't update it, then that's trash. That's trash that they don't do nothing about it. But I mean, it's not a cartridge, so they can't update it at least.
I mean, to some extent, I might say like
it's kind of lazy.
Console exclusive are a little spoiled. Not saying that PC games are broken at all, but with so many variables, especially if you are like a 90s, early 2000s PC gamer, when things were a lot more unstable, especially with support, hardware support, which it's all pretty universal now. You're not really going to have many issues unless you're trying to run current games on old hardware. Hey, I got this laptop from 2005. Can I play Doom 2016? Yeah, sure, you might be able to play it. Oh, I crashed. That game's terrible. Your computer's terrible. Or you got
the life surrounding your computer is terrible.
But I guess I'm used to having games crash here and there. Like
it happens. So it's just a thing in gaming. Playing a cartridge game, sometimes it just freezes and you got to reset it.
Yeah, it happens.
It's always been a thing in everything.
That's a good point. I'm glad you mentioned that because that did happen. I got my dad set up with an emulator because my dad likes playing classic JRPGs, more specifically like Super Nintendo, PlayStation 1 era. Mm-hmm. And he was playing Legend of Dragoon, and there was one point in the game that like just completely hard locked. He does multiple saves, so he'd load an older save, then he'd play up to that point again, lock up. So me doing some research to try to help him so he could progress, this was actually an issue on the disc itself, widespreadly reported. That's never going to be fixed. And a lot of people encountered this glitch from what I was reading, whereas, with current games, they have the potential to fix them, not necessarily saying that they will, but
the bigger the studio, the more likely it's going to happen.
Yeah. But the freeze and the couple crashes I had was like, that's lame, but I just
bummer. As long as you didn't lose hours of play, it's not like
right. And with the autosave feature, you really don't. I just noticed, like, just in general, access to save points. Like, you're gonna be saving. If you save like every chance you can, you'll definitely be saving every half an hour. Like sometimes less. Like those dungeons, you can run through a dungeon and fight a boss in like 15 minutes, no problem. Like,
yeah. Well, so that's like you're gonna get a random like, oh, I forgot to save Skyrim or Fall of Death, where you're like, I've been playing for 3 hours, haven't gone in a building. Sucks. That sucks, man. I think I'm done for tonight.
And just for anybody who might have not spent much time with Bethesda games, I just want to give you a word of advice. Save all the freaking time.
Yeah, save
those games crash. And you know what? They're fantastic games. It sucks that they crash, but it doesn't take away how quality the games are.
And sometimes you also just randomly bullshit die out of nowhere. You're like, what? Oh, all right. I didn't even realize. Yeah.
Yeah. So one other thing that I really liked that was added to Secret of Mana is a lot of the main character dialogue scenes. They do an interesting thing where you'll have your chat bubble, but then they'll actually, you'll have the background isometric just as it is all the other times, but they will do the two characters, like they'll pop their models up large. So it's like a lot of the newer JRPGs do, where they talk and then the dialogue box will be at the bottom and then they'll come in from the other side and talk. And I like that. It just kind of adds a little bit more, flair to it.
Character to the characters, rather than just a thing popping up and them going.
Well, they don't.
Because their mouths don't even. Yeah, their mouths don't even do that.
They do have facial expressions that change.
Yeah,
but some people might be turned off by that. It does not bother me at all.
If you've been playing for any amount of time before this gen, mouths just started talking like halfway through PS2, Xbox generation. So that wasn't really ever a big deal to me either.
Right.
When I first started, that was actually more of an issue. Like, oh my god, the mouth's moving is. Like every time they talk, you're like, I'd rather them just not move at all. I'd rather them just gesture and their faces not even move at all.
Yeah. And then one thing that I thought was, I love this edition. It doesn't really necessarily add a whole lot to the story. It just kind of gives it a little bit more depth to the characters. The main characters is every time you stay at an inn, there will be a little dialogue scene that the three main characters have talking about like this. Oh, we just went to this area. That's, kind of crazy. Or they'll kind of like make fun of each other. Just adds more depth to the characters. Originally there wasn't much. You had your story.
That's about it.
This doesn't like change anything. It just gives you a little bit more. The characters are silly. It's not like great. It's not like Tolkien level writing. This isn't Academy Award winning stuff here. It's a simple action adventure RPG.
That's what I liked a lot about Tales of Berseria, was the little things like that when they would stop in their little like reprieve from the mission, and they just kind of like interact with each other, and different groups, or like two people would talk that didn't seem to really interact in the game very much, and it was just cool for fleshing out the world and the story. So I'd definitely be a fan of that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, so I guess kind of final thoughts on Secret of Mana. If you love the original, I really don't see how you can't love the new one, unless you're purely based on nostalgia, which, is what it is. If you've never played Secret of Mana and you've had interest in doing it, check out the new one. Unless you're a very retro-focused person, I see a lot of benefits of taking advantage of a remake. It's just more current, I guess. I'm not saying that current is better, but it's harder for people who are more used to current games to go back to some of the older mechanics, even though not much has changed.
Well, especially if you play a lot of RPGs, like you're probably used to the newer kind by now, and I mean, you might go back to the older ones too, especially if you're an RPG fan. I mean, a lot of the classics are like the best ones you're gonna get, but a lot of the stuff I'm seeing negatively about this game just seems overly nitpicky, which I find about a lot of things people say about games, and people are At first, it seemed like it was almost like a bandwagoning thing. I'm like, oh my god, is this Mass Effect Andromeda or something? Like, is it just a game to hate right now? Or
the initial reviews, like I didn't look at anything. I avoided hearing about things because I really wanted to experience the game for myself. When my friends hit me up and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing Friday night?" He's like, "Let's binge play it in co-op," and I was like, "Fuck yeah, that's great."
Except for Thursday where you had it and then you can play it.
Yeah, I had it for.
I was like beat it in single player today and then played it.
So after we had played it, and just the few mentions that I saw, like I went and I started looking at reviews, and it's like, the fuck were these people expecting? Like,
it's a budget title. It's like
I don't give a shit about Polygon or anything that Polygon has to say. I despise that site. They're too involved with goofy politics and stuff. But they gave it like a 5 or a 6 or something. Destructoid or no, Kotaku gave it really low.
Yeah,
I'm very confused on these people who are like, oh well, I love the original game, but this one's garbage. They've ruined a great game. Like,
so when you play the Super Nintendo one, it's gonna suck ass all of a sudden. You're gonna be like, what are they? How did they do this? How did they wreck this cartridge game?
Like seriously, it really is.
I don't know when they say like they butchered it, and I don't know. Yeah, it was a lot of stuff. I was like, I'm not too worried about it.
I know a lot of people.
I'm sure I'll still be able to enjoy it.
But
you can turn it off.
You can, but I honestly don't think it's that bad. I mean, for what this game is, the voice acting totally makes sense.
Well, it was a budget remake. They didn't go all out for it, and they even stated that.
And even if they did, I don't know, more like higher quality voice acting. I don't know if it would fit. Like just the feel of the game and
just saying. A lot of people are saying like, oh, just switch it to the Japanese subs. That goes for any type of dubbing of anything, ever. A lot of people hate the English version of most things, like especially watching anime. Mm-hmm. People are like, oh my god, no, just do subtitles. Like it's like nails on a chalkboard, no matter what. Because like
sometimes I can agree with that.
People are awful. Yeah, that's what I mean. So I'm like, they're acting like this is a special thing on its own. Like you're like, whatever. Some people just aren't into English dubbed things of Japanese games. Like,
what's funny is going the Japanese route by doing it in Japanese. That's like an ignorance is bliss kind of thing. Because you know what,
most Japanese people are like, oh my god, switch it to English.
Pretty much. So like, I'd rather not understand what they're saying than hear them saying it poorly. And really, again, I don't think the voice acting is bad. At first, there's a couple things that are kind of like, it's a little corny, but it really seems like they must have started at the beginning and went through the whole script of the game, and as they went on, not even much further, like things, it was fine. Like seriously, it was fine.
What I saw didn't bother me. I mean, I watched a little bit, didn't bother me. But then again, like there's just good and bad. Like if it's something that bugs you, at least you can turn it off. At least you're not stuck with it. I mean, look at like the alternative. They could have just had people going.
What's the funny thing about that too is people love that for Banjo, the Banjo-Kazooie games, but people complained about that with ukulele. Even though I haven't played ukulele, that was a big complaint. Is people like, I can't stand that crap. It's like,
it's 2008.
This.
Yeah, this is exactly what you wanted, except for it's not a bear.
Right? It's not a a cherished childhood memory for you.
Well, yeah, some games
maybe don't base all your gaming interests off nostalgia.
And then there's other games where it just like they make a sigh or a grunt.
Yeah.
Or they say like 2 words and it's not even the words that are in their sentence. Like a lot of Fire Emblem games do that. I'll just be like, huh, and it'll like actually say what he says, and then you're gonna be like,
One thing that I really liked about Gravity Rush 2 is they did that a lot.
Yeah. So you can tell how they're saying it. You're getting the gist of like how they would say it, but they're not
a basic
all
like emote.
Oh, that person's angrily saying that. Okay, and then oh, this person's tired of it. Okay,
Yeah.
like I don't mind that. I like that in the Fire Emblem games. Like sometimes they just say like 2 words.
Yeah, for sure.
But,
so then I guess moving on. Of course, I played a little Friday the 13th. I've really slowed down on playing Friday the 13th, mostly because I was playing Shadow of the Colossus, Secret of Mana, working on videos and whatnot. But just wanted to mention a couple updates to the game. It's probably been a month now or so. They added Jason Part 4, which was the non-undead Jason. It was the guy posing as Jason.
mm-hmm.
Pretty good Jason in the game. They also added a new map, Pinehurst, which is based on Part 4, I believe. Yeah. And they finally did a lot of bug fixing, balancing again. Things kind of got screwed up for a little bit there. There's a few months even maybe, that pretty much like Jason was a wimp. And if you're playing against experienced players, like most times counselors were escaping, and things should really be difficult for counselors. So it's kind of back to how it was before, where it's tough. It's tough to escape as counselors, as it should be, which I think is great.
Well, who wants to watch a horror movie where everyone gets away and is fine?
Right.
Oh, are you kidding me? And also they added so you can kind of mix and match now, right? You can switch or they are adding it, or have they done it already?
So they've announced some more updates, and actually we're coming to. They're not going to be doing many more updates. They actually have a roadmap that I think might go a couple more months, and then they are not doing anything else with the game, which sucks. But I mean, really nobody's playing this game, which is unfortunate because it's a ton of fun. It really is. I'm over 300 hours in, but they're adding an update where you can change what weapons Jason uses, where as is every Jason specific to the movies has a specific weapon, which is fine. I don't, if they didn't add swappable weapons or whatever, I wouldn't really care. But it a little something to let you personalize your experience a little bit more. So that's cool.
Like no one's gonna be getting killed. Like, you're not killing me in a canonically accurate way.
I don't think I've heard anybody complaining about the canon too much.
Actually, though, if that did happen, I'd actually know that that would probably do it. Actually, Jason never used that in Part 7.
Right. And then they also announced single player challenges. So there's, I think pretty much when they put this out, that's probably going to be close to the end of what they're going to do for support for the game. They are adding a single player mode that I believe you play as. I don't think you play as counselors, maybe, but I think you play as Jason, and there'll be some challenges like, they're going to put you in a situation where these counselors are trying to fix this car, and you need to take them out. I don't, is what it is. I really wish they wouldn't waste their time on the single player because, again, like I said, I've said this before, anybody who's playing this game for single player are not
human beings.
Well, they're not supporting the life of this game. This is a multiplayer game. The single player was added kind of like last minute because there was so many people saying that they wouldn't back the game because it didn't have single player. And I guarantee you most of those people who are complaining about the lack of single player will not be playing this game when they put out single player because this is how they are.
It wasn't at launch.
It was I think single player is a waste of resources. or they could have done.
I mean, if you can play it like you can play the old Battlefronts where you're playing against bots and shit, like you can just set up matches if you're not able to find someone online. I'm down with that. I don't need a campaign or anything like that. But if you could set up bot matches of the game, and if people aren't playing it online that much, it'll kind of continue. Because I don't know how many times I like tried to play games that I really liked the single player of online, and there was nobody or like one other guy, or I had to go on a forum to find some other people to play with. That's garbage. So if we just, I don't know, if they do that, then I'm totally cool with that. But if it's just a campaign, I agree that it's a total waste of resources.
Yeah. So then I think we got a few kind of just newsy mentions to run through. So first thing here, I completely forgot about, even though I've heard some other podcasts talk about this, and you had reminded me, Bandai Namco is working on Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, so that could be cool. It's actually the same team that was working on the sadly absent Star Wars 1313. So that game like was going to be badass. So if there was any idea how much cool ideas they can bring to the table for Prime 4, then shit's looking good with me.
Yeah, I'd really be interested to hear like how that came to be, because it was Retro that did the other Prime games.
Yeah, I think so.
And I'm not sure what they're working on now. I
don't know.
Anyways, it'd be interesting to hear like like the team working at Bandai Namco where they're like, oh man, it would be awesome to work on a Metroid game, or was there somewhere in upper management that struck a deal with Nintendo or like, hey, here's a lucrative idea, we just need one of your IPs.
Or maybe they made like a mock-up or a plan and pitched it to Nintendo, like, please let us work on it.
Yeah. So,
I mean, obviously, Nintendo's not just like, yeah, you guys got this, right? And just let us know when it's done, and we'll throw it out. That's cool.
But then again,
Nintendo.
People usually think Nintendo is like, Nintendo is super protective of their franchises, but they really just neglect the heck out of Metroid compared to everything else. So, to let somebody get their hands on it that can do something good with it.
Give it to someone who will make a game.
Yeah,
that would be. I guess they want a game made. These guys aren't doing nothing. Let's get them to make our game for us. Well, if that's cool with you, what happened to everything else that people have been working on that you guys have shut down?
Yeah.
Just buy it off them. Jesus.
Yeah, if they'd sell. Next thing we got here.
I saw the. I'm gonna have to jump into a game that I bought a while ago for dirt cheap, sooner than expected. The Evil Within 2 has got a first-person update, and I think that sounds badass. In a survival horror game, that's what I've been kind of looking for. Because I like the old Resident Evil style and the third person and stuff like that. But I think that game looks like it would be really cool in a first-person setting. So I don't know, if the option sucks, then I'll switch to third person. But I like having the option to switch first. I think it would be really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm definitely gonna have to get that. Yeah, I got it for like $16 or something, or $13 on Amazon. I was having like a daily deal on it.
Nice.
Yeah, I got really lucky. Within a couple of days of each other, I got that, and the new Dishonored was like even cheaper, like $12-13.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that.
And then I was like, oh, turns out I actually imported it, so I got like a European. So I got it says like Peggy 17 or something on it. I'm like,
still works.
Oh, well, that's fine. Yeah, at least it's region free, so nothing to worry about.
For sure.
So, what else we got?
We got some Shantae news. Finally, So Shantae Ultimate Edition has been given a release date of April 3rd, and this is Shantae Half Genie Hero, which the Ultimate Edition will include the 2 DLCs, the Friends to the End DLC, Pirate Queen's Quest, and a couple of what I guess, and I didn't really know that these were available for backers, exclusively for backers, but there is a costume pack that allows you to just change the clothing of your character or of Shantae.
How did you not know about it?
Because it's not available. So, and I wasn't a backer, I missed out.
What?
Well, because I got into Shantae after, like right after the Kickstarter. So I'll preach Shantae to the moon and back, but I've only been familiar with the series for about 3 years now.
All this time it's been damage control for you missing out on backing. That's what it's been.
Pretty much. But then they're also adding in color swaps, which I don't really know what that is. I couldn't find much information about that.
Sounds like a Mortal Kombat deal.
Possibly. And then there's also a Tinkerbat DLC, which I think is just another transformation, which is kind of neat because it's a throwback to the original Game Boy Color Shantae, which if you played the Game Boy Color version on the Game Boy Advance or the Game Boy Player, you'd get access to an additional transformation, which is kind of neat and kind of weird that they would lock that off.
That's badass stuff. Well, it's just like, what the hell was it? I think it was like a Game Boy Galaxian or something, or Space Invaders. I think if you put the Game Boy game in the Super Game Boy, it was actually the Super Nintendo version of the game.
Right? Yeah. What game was that?
Yeah, it was Space Invaders.
Space Invaders. Okay.
I'm almost certain it was. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. So I mean, it's like, it's like a different version of that.
And then as far as I know right now, the Shantae Ultimate Edition is only going to be for the Switch. I'm not sure if those other additional DLCs are going to be free for people who already have the base version or not. But
I think it's included. I think it's Ultimate Edition is kind of just like the name of the release, is it not?
Well, the Ultimate Edition,
just like
the
Mario,
going to be a digital Ultimate Edition that includes everything. Then there's going to be the physical Switch Ultimate Edition, which is the same as the digital. But for people who bought the base game, I don't know if they get that for free. I know backers get everything.
I think the Ultimate Edition, I mean, like, is this like buying a Game of the Year edition of a game where you get the DLCs automatically? I think that's kind of like when I bought Mario Kart 8 for the Switch, it automatically has all the DLC that was out for the Wii U version for free.
Yeah.
So I think it's basically what you're doing. You're getting like the full package.
Yeah, that's fair. And of course, I do not have a Switch, but I did pre-order my Shantae Ultimate Edition. So
good thing you don't have to pre-order a Switch. You could just buy it at a store.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what else we got coming out for?
There was also another DLC announced or the next DLC for Hollow Knight was announced, Gods and Glory. Not a lot of information given, but it looks like it's going to be some additional story, maybe some challenges. And I kind of get the idea that it focuses on some of the notable like boss NPCs that are kind of tied in with the story. So that is neat. And of course, Hollow Knight DLC is free.
Yes.
Which
they don't see that a lot.
Yeah.
Have they stated how many they're intending to make of that?
That I'm not sure.
I'm thinking
they put out the Grim Troop, and there was another update that added some just kind of like quality of life sort of features. So there'll be the Gods and Glory one, and I'm not sure. I'll have to look up to see if I can find any other information about that.
Because I'm thinking if they gave some kind of roadmap, kind of like Friday the 13th, that'll kind of maybe point more towards when a console version will come out, because then maybe they'll do an ultimate version of that. Get that all in one thing, because if it's free, it's not like it's going to cost any more, but it'll save you having to download it all. That'd be cool to have more of an answer to know when that's coming out. Because because you got me wanting to play that. Like, nah,
it's fantastic.
Speaking of fantastic games, Owlboy is out now for I think PS4, but I know and Switch and all that are getting a physical version in the spring. So
so
part of that. So I'll wait on the physical version, but I think I'll be picking that up. Like
and I haven't played Owlboy yet. I was really excited for it. No physical version at the time. I was playing other stuff, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna hold out a little bit on Owlboy. Indie Box, which did kind of limited run for PC games. They did PC little collector's editions and whatnot. They did just a standard DVD release or whatever, DVD case. They didn't do a collector's edition for Owlboy. So of course I got that. I've had that for, I don't know, it's probably almost been a year. I think it was last summer that it was released. But yeah, very cool that it's coming physically to consoles. Catches people's eyes. They see it on the shelf. They're like, hey, this looks pretty neat. Hopefully they don't dismiss it by the name, and they see that art style. Like, I mean, I love pixel art. In this game, like, it's another one of those games that just, oh my god, pixel art is just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So check it out. Not quite a Metroidvania. I think it can be a Metroidvania, but some people
I think it's more of a standard platformer
adventure game.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Then one little thing that it's just this little silly mention, in case nobody had heard this. I thought, everybody needs to know.
I hadn't heard it.
The original creators of these games, some of the original developers for id Software, Tom Hall and John Romero, confirmed this information, but BJ Blazkowicz of Wolfenstein is Doom Guy's great grandpa, and Commander Keen is actually BJ Blazkowicz's descendant. Yeah, something like that. I forget what Commander Keen. So, it's silly, but hey.
It's kind of cool to tie it all together.
Yeah, why not?
Where's Duke Nukem tie in there?
Yeah.
So I don't know, different company, but you feel like you should be part of that too.
Right. So then I think we could probably move into community comments at this point.
Sounds good.
We got a few more comments than normal, so that is pretty neat.
It was a good discussion going on there.
Yeah, for sure. So just gonna kind of run through this list here. Got a comment from Power Metal Gamer. Anybody who does not follow him, definitely go to his channel. He does mostly live streams these days, but he has some fantastic content. Really great guy. And he says, Jason hasn't put up any CFG in a very long time. What's up with that?
Yeah. Oh, anyone's been covering the podcast, you know that my life sucks ass, and very busy. That new computer that I spent a lot of money on, I've turned on enough to update it, fix the aspect ratio for my TV, and that's it.
Hey, that's one day at a time, making progress.
I filmed about 5 or 6 episodes of things, and haven't had any time to do anything with any of them. As I said, the last 2 days I've got to play a game, and I don't feel like I should have a gaming channel until I can comfortably game and actually have something to talk about. Like, I don't even deserve to be on this podcast, honestly. The amount of games I play. My passion for games is the only thing that keeps me on this thing, because I actually keep up with stuff. But the amount of gaming I do is casual at best.
Hey, it
and
happens. It happens.
Despite my absolute obsession with games, the amount of games lately I've been saving my money for MGC, but normally I'm buying games way more than I should, because I'm never going to get to them.
I have faith in you. I believe in you, and there will be some point in the not too distant future where you can sit down and you can play a game to completion in a reasonable amount of time.
Well, my reasons being, at first, because 8 months ago was the last time I put a video up on my channel. During that time, right after that last video I put up, I started working at Domino's while I still worked at Walmart, and I would go right from that job to Domino's. So that was 14 to 17-hour days most of the time, like 5 to even 7 days a week. Even when my days off from Walmart, I would still work a lot of Domino shifts. So absolutely exhausted.
Yeah.
And no time even for my family. So that is definitely why that didn't happen. Right. And then following that, when I left Walmart, got my new job, I got a lot more time during the day. That means I got a lot more family stuff to do to catch up on and be an active parent.
Yeah.
So there goes that.
Don't overthink it.
Also a newborn baby.
Yes.
He's 6 months old now. He's, knock on wood, starting to sleep a little bit. So even at night times, I can actually squeeze in an hour or two and not feel like a total dick. So that's my main reasons. Once I can actually I've been working my ass off to get a system, but it's definitely coming.
Yeah, and trust us, nobody is like legitimately giving you a hard time besides yourself.
Oh no, I'm not expecting it. Even if they were, I wouldn't care. I deserve it. But it's honestly right now, like, I could be editing and stuff, but really, if I can't keep up, the way I look at it, if I can't consistently get the time to do something, it's not worth starting to do it at all. I want to stick to like I was before, like every week, at least one video, sometimes 2 videos a week. If I can't stick to that, I'm not going to start up again.
Yeah, well, you'll get there. You'll get there.
Because I spoke on here many times about my aspirations for my channel, and if I can't make those come to like full fruition, I'm not going to bother. That's something I haven't said before, but I'm not bothering at all if I can't put my all into it. So there, long-winded answer, but that's what's up with that.
Yeah. So next comment we got from it's my friend Jesse. His screen name that he used was Jay. I bet Brian can't pronounce this gibberish game cat. He says, in regards to your computer, if you got a 1060, you could get a Rift into PC VR, which, yeah, totally. But you got the PS4 VR too. So
I was actually looking if thinking that I actually get more time.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably be interested in the Vive. I think it seems like it's got a lot of good stuff going for it. But yeah, until I'm playing significantly more, I'm not really going to invest in any more tech like that. I love my PSVR, don't get me wrong, but even that, I have a ton of games for it now, and I haven't even played Doom or Skyrim for it, and I have both of those. So when I can dedicate more time to actually playing games, I will invest in more stuff like that.
Yeah.
I guess one thing I didn't mention is the only real upgrade I've made besides the computer is I sold my PS4 and bought a Pro. So, which is for the VR, is basically why, because I don't have a 4K TV, but I actually experienced a bit of VR on a Pro, and I was like, all right, now I got to get a Pro.
Yeah.
So the opportunity presented itself.
Then next comment here we got from Musty Hobbit over at Second Breakfast. This was in regards to the question, do you buy new games? And he said, new games on occasion, probably 2 to 3 a year, but the market shows that most games immediately go on sale or drop to half price in months. And if I'm not going to play it the first week, I can and will wait. And
Exactly.
yeah, that's totally the way to go about it.
Well, yeah, definitely. Just anything but Nintendo stuff does that.
Yeah.
Really.
And
some things faster than others. Like everyone's like, get the new Assassin's Creed Origins. It's really good. Like really good. Even if you don't care about Assassin's Creed, you got to play this. I'm like, I'll wait another 3 months. It'll be $20.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to hear more of our thoughts, we talked about it for a few on the last episode of the podcast. So definitely check that out.
Check that out. We went very in depth.
Then we got a few comments from Black Metal Gamer. I think this was in relation to Anthem being delayed and our concerns about the future of BioWare if Anthem isn't a smash hit. And
especially them saying they were basically putting all their eggs in this basket, like it's a make or break. Yeah.
And BMG says Hitler has been reincarnated and returned as ruler of EA. BioWare is scared shitless, and they think if they are fucked if this game isn't a hot hit. They want to bring us a solid game and a whole game, but EA will force this to have loot boxes, and so it's a bad situation where they are damned no matter what they do. If the game is honest for gamers, EA may tell them to add more paywalls. Best of luck, but expect the worst.
Well, let's hope that legislation goes through that was supposed to deter or regulate these loot box things, and it'll make them so they're basically just appearance only and not gambling garbage. But
yeah.
It's probably a long shot.
And then Black Metal Gamer added in, if BioWare ever gets closed, some of the great people should join Bethesda or CD Projekt Red, since both devs have games with very BioWare-y mechanics. And I would hope if BioWare staff, first of all, I hope nothing happens to them, and I'm sure everybody can agree. But if they do, I do hope those people go to quality companies that, making good games is their focus, not trying to milk a franchise and the consumers for every possible cent.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have impressive resumes. I'm sure they'd have no trouble getting jobs. They're forming a new thing that they wouldn't stupidly sell to EA again.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they had their reasons, but
then Black Metal Gamer also, this was when we were talking about Nintendo Labo. It says Nintendo's next genius innovation will be glue and popsicle sticks. And then
man, TM that shit. That's going.
And then his next comment had me cracking up. He says, NES Maker is nowhere near as innovative as Labo, but if I must make a game, I would make a Borat in America beat 'em up using the same engine as River City Ransom. And then I'm gonna exclude the rest of it just for a little more a PC podcast. Sorry about that, BMG, but
if you must check it out.
Yeah. We always appreciate BMG's comments. Yeah. And then another consistent commenter, BioPhoenix, left us a comment. He says he needs to get a new capture card since his old one has been fucked for a long time. So yeah, thanks for letting him know about the Elgato stopping production, because it'll give me a reason to get one sooner. And that was the Elgato HD, the original Elgato capture device that has HDMI and SD inputs. They've discontinued it. So really, to capture retro consoles, it makes it a lot harder using current Elgato stuff, even though you can get like HDMI adapters and things like that.
Yeah, I don't know. So I'm probably just gonna use the Hopage you gave me.
Yeah.
So.
And then Bob Phoenix also said, personally, he likes streams better than Let's Plays because it's more interactive, but that's just him, and I totally agree with that.
No, yeah, like I said, if I was going to do something, it wouldn't be a standard Let's Play.
Yeah.
Just talking about my day at work while I played Mario Brothers 3 or some crap.
Yeah.
Because that's annoying to watch. Like when guys, especially if the guy's not even talking about the game, or like what bothers me about Let's Plays is just the guys just feel like they have to be talking the entire time.
Yes.
But I'm like, I'm watching the game. You're not that entertaining. Shut up. Be good at this game. That's the best way you can be entertaining for me.
Yeah.
And I'm not. I don't watch anybody play video games. I don't care who they are, and I don't know. That's for whoever.
Yeah.
But I look up gameplay on a game that I'm like just hearing about to see how it plays. I actually don't care about. I don't care about Let's Plays or streams or any of that shit. But I like to play video games, and if people do like to watch that, sure, I'll put up some stuff. That's pretty much what I'm getting across. But I would be like I said in the last one, my Let's Play type thing would be more like a just showing off gameplay, talking about what I thought, almost like a mini review of games that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. Kind of like you were saying with your reviews, that you kind of tend to review games that are like underdog things. So that's kind of like the idea I'd be going for. Just check this game out. Yeah. This is what this game has to offer, not just here's me playing through 3 dungeons on this game.
Yeah. Totally. And then BioPhoenix also this was I talked about Titanfall 2 and how it's actually a really good game. So anybody who has any interest in first-person shooters, and you can pick Titanfall 2 up for cheap. The single-player campaign is fantastic. And he says, one thing that surprised me about Titanfall 2 was it actually had good boss fights, since most great FPS games don't have good boss fights. One of the few things that the genre does struggle with for the most part. And totally agree.
Oh, yeah, and like the abilities of the mechs and stuff were like cooler than just like this one has a sword, this one has a different, the different weapons weren't even what set them apart. It was it's all the abilities that it has. So and it makes it easier to have boss battles when you can get in a mech and fight another mech. That's how they kind of lucked out with that idea. Because fighting a mech in a first-person game where you just got to run around, it's more probably just a pain in the ass, because they're just gonna be like raining missiles at you, and you're like running around hiding behind cars. I mean, it's doable, but it is that I definitely agree that's something it struggles with.
Yeah. And then next comment was from one of my friends, and he's also in the Minnesota local group, Lewis. He likes to troll me pretty good, and his favorite thing to bring up is he says, "You guys wearing black shirts?"
Rep it.
For this podcast, I actually am not. Podcasts, I don't get all snazzed up usually, so
the last
I got my
one?
jammies on. I think I probably had my jammies on the last one too.
It looks black. I got Darth Vader pajama pants on. What are you repping?
Just flannel. I usually have my skull pajama pants, but I'm not wearing those today.
I'm repping Vader. Vader, usually Ghostbusters or Ninja Turtle ones, but I'm almost 95% of my life wearing pajama pants. Yeah. Not when I go out in public very often.
This is the moment you get home.
Pajama pants. Or pajama. I even have pajama shorts that I do in the summer, but that's how I do.
Yeah. And then we got a comment from Eric DeGroff, and he says, "Love the show. Keep it long. That sounds bad, but I really like the show going long. I dig it. Keep up the good work. Hugs from Holland."
That's pretty badass. He's a new commenter, and hopefully a new listener of the podcast. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you know what? We don't mind having a long podcast.
We just want to keep it concise and
not too much rambling. I'm pretty sure we failed horribly at this episode, just as much as we do of any other episode. But we're here to talk about games, and we talk about games.
I disagree. I think we fucking failed blissfully.
There you go. Yeah. So then, with that said,
Bye. Just kidding.
I want to encourage anybody listening to comment, hit us up on, you can comment, of course, on the YouTube video. You can comment on SoundCloud, message us on, Facebook, Twitter, wherever. We appreciate your comments. And, this is a conversation that we enjoy having with everybody. And this is just our way of trying to include a little bit of that. So
feel free to berate me into making videos faster. That'd be actually a good motivator. Just go on my channel page, go on my 8-month-old video, or go on my Facebook and just hound the shit out of me to make more videos.
No bullying, though. I'm not going to encourage bullying.
Don't come to my house and insist that I make a video immediately. But
yeah.
Anything short of that, go ahead.
So then I think we are probably going over our goal time, as wouldn't be the Game Tenants podcast if we didn't go long.
We're at about
much like Eric mentioned,
just short of an hour and a half, so we're only 15 over.
Yeah. So that's we're getting better. So let's kind of move into the little closing segment here. Any gaming plans you got in the next couple weeks?
God, I hope I can keep up this streak of getting to play a little bit. I finished ending A of Nier. I'm gonna go hard at that, and once I go hard at a game, I basically get obsessed with trying to play it. So, PS4 games are a lot easier for me to play, even easier than the Switch, because I have the PS TV in my living room. That's how I've been even able. This is the first time I've been in my game room aside from just putting something in here to actually hang out for a couple hours in a long time, probably since the last podcast. So that's actually a godsend, having the PS TV to stream the PS4 upstairs, because then I can play a lot more. So I think I'm going to be switching from getting things that are on both systems on the Xbox over to getting it on the PS4, because my brother was a lot of the reason I got that kind of stuff on the Xbox, because then he could borrow it. He isn't borrowing very many games for me anymore. So there's not as much reason to do that. So I think I'll just be switching to the PS4 for games that are on both systems now, unless they have online that I care about. So, but aside from the VR, I can play just about my full library, and I've got about 105 or 106 games for the PS4 now. So that's pretty good. That's something to keep me busy for a bit.
Yeah. Play those this weekend, all of them.
All of them in succession.
and do reviews, video reviews.
Video reviews with gameplay, awesome editing.
Yeah.
Vuvuzelas.
360 no scopes too.
Yeah. On RPGs.
Yeah. So for me, I think I'm going to be wrapping up Secret of Mana, hopefully soon. I plan to play it every chance I get. I am currently working on a review, so it's been quite a while since I did a game review, so I'm pretty excited for this. Hopefully it turns out. I'm kind of concerned about some of my initial recordings, but we'll see what happens.
Have that and the Secret of Mana review up.
Yeah.
By Saturday.
Yeah. And then
if I gotta play 100-something games, but you gotta
I can at least play one game and review it then, I guess. But so Secret of Mana, working on a review. Pretty sure I'm going to jump into Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, once I finish with Secret of Mana, and then start knocking some of those other recent pickups out. So
Resi.
Yes. Because I don't think there's anything in the immediate future that I'm like, I need to play this game now. So this is my chance. Play as many games from my backlog as I can before I start getting,
before the downfall or the flood of new games comes out.
Yeah.
April's looking pretty. A lot of stuff's coming out in April, so I know I'm not catching up, but I know I'll be buying. I've got a bunch of games pre-order that come out in April. I got Rick and Morty, Virtual Reality, God of War, Ni no Kuni 2, Yakuza 6. That's my whole year right there. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. In April. And even though that's early in the year, I won't have them. Half those I probably won't even play by the end of the year. So that's
We'll see.
That's optimism for you.
Yeah, that's the way to go. If you believe it, you can will it to be. So just believe in yourself.
But I believe in my dreams.
Yeah.
I just need to get some of that stuff from Nightmare on Elm Street that keeps them awake forever.
Oh yeah.
The no dose or whatever.
Yeah, no dose.
No dose, yeah.
No dose, or whatever the heck that stuff was.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I think then that's probably gonna about do it for this episode. Again, I just want to mention you can reach us on, of course, via the YouTube video. You can look us up on Facebook and Twitter. I now have an Instagram account, which I'm trying to do some stuff with that. So just look us up, The Game Grinder or Corpse Flood Gaming, and you will find us.
Yeah.
Yes. So that will do it for this episode of the Game Tenants Podcast. Hopefully, next one will be in a more timely fashion. We had a little delay there, so
it wasn't Valentine's Day because we usually do on Wednesday, but my entire family was destroyed with the flu last week. If we must disclose, I got it Monday. It was over Tuesday, but then everyone else pretty much got it. So I was just taking care of everyone else.
Yeah, we totally intended to do the podcast on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, we were. I was very open to it, but you're like, you probably should.
Well, I got the clear because my fiance and we don't really do like holiday stuff like that because every day is Valentine's Day.
If you love your spouse or other, yeah.
Absolutely.
We think it's dumb too, so we were all for it, but the only reason that it's tough, I had the clear until sickness took over. So
so it happens. It happens.
Yeah.
But then I think with that said, that'll do it. So
that's it. Get out of here. Go do something else. Bye.
Yeah. Enjoy your night or day or whenever you're listening to this.
Enjoy your afternoon.
Yes. Later.